And then I can choose. Again, it's not that we try not to have emotions, but we're trying to actually process them and integrate these parts of ourselves, heal these pieces that are wounded, or these pieces that were so painful we kind of had to separate them from ourselves. We're pulling all of those in because it is a part of yourself, and it doesn't serve you well to be fractured and to be all over the place. That just kind of dilutes your personal power and separates you being able to actually stay grounded, stay focused, keep clarity, and get your needs met in a very, very healthy way. And so you're expressing and wanting to recognize when you're in a trigger, how does it feel in your body? And yours will be very, very similar. The ones that we're talking about, the ones that it may not be because right now you're in a very raw situation. And so this particular one is very, much on the surface, but all of the rest of yours are going to kind of feel very, very similar in the body. You're going to kind of feel this, defensiveness rise up. You're going to kind of feel this, we'll call it the fight or flight, like we've been kind of talking about, almost like a stubbornness inside of you, yeah, I know, right? And you're like, holy crap, I relate to that. But it doesn't make you feel good when you enter that state. Like when that state, so we'll use that word since you kind of identified with that. But like when you feel that stubbornness rising up, that's you being in resistance to something. And that should be an immediate clue of, hey, I'm going into this, this habit or this pattern that I run. So there's something activated, in my belief system. There's something activated or some thought that I'm having. There's something sitting in my body. It's immediate, like pay attention. Pay attention. This is where you can interrupt, this programming. You can interrupt this thing that really, really causes a lot of pain, and causes a lot of suffering. And there's no more powerful of a spot to be in when you start to learn and see and have the tools, and have the recognition to deal with these things that are happening in your life. And so I'm very, very excited, for you saying, hey, this is the number one thing I want to talk about today. We just want to change it around in the sense that, yes, we can clear out this particular one, but the bigger piece is to actually be able to recognize what is happening and that you're tipping over and falling into this trigger for any subject, because there's more than one. That when you have, these things, here are these 2 or 3 things that happen, the defensiveness, the stubbornness, the fight or flight, and it'll be different in everybody, that experiences it. But in you, that's what it looks like. And in you, you're going to identify where it sits in your body. Your stomach gets tight, your hands start tingling, your arms start aching. For some people, their face turns red. For some, their stomach gets a cramp. It can be different, but it is going to be located in the body somewhere. And so I'm very excited because, like I said, that's a very powerful step. And so now the focus, isn't the question of yesterday's. It's the recognition of what does it look like right before I go over the edge into that trigger when I'm talking to somebody. So that from now on, as you start recognizing it, you might recognize it after the fact. Then you'll recognize it while you're doing it. You're going to think in your mind, oh shit, I'm in the trigger, but you might not be able to pull yourself out of it. And pretty soon, you'll be able to go, wait a minute, I'm starting to feel this rise up. I'm starting to feel this in my body. I'm starting to feel my emotions, go this direction. And you can stop and choose a different path before it ever, happens, and you don't have to overlay layer on top of layer any longer. And then when you go to actually heal whatever block, you're not going to heal that and then just keep layering over and over again every day. That's what happens. People are like, oh, let me do some energy work. Let me clear some blocks. Okay, except the fact that you haven't, yet interrupted what's putting them there in the first place. You aren't aware and aren't doing the inner work to actually, dive down and go, why is this still existing? Why am I, still using these patterns that I developed, for self-defense or for self-survival as a child, for self-protection, whatever, to exist, to belong, to be loved, to get your needs met, all of these reasons. Why am I still using it now when what I recognize is that doesn't get my needs met? It doesn't, protect me. It's just like this ingrained response that you think you need for survival. And so we have to kind of retrain, from that. And so, like I said, that's the focus. That's what we want.
Wonderful.